Dr. M. Laxmidevi, Associate Professor in the Department of CSCDS at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video lecture, we learn about structures in C language. So, what are the different concepts we will be seeing are definition of structure, then how to declare a structure variable and how to initialize the structure variable. So, these along with some programs. So, first coming to the introduction of structures in C, we will discuss about what is the need and necessity of structures. So, we have seen that in order to store information, so we need variables. So, variables can be of different type, they can be of integer type, they can be of float type, etc. So, in this way we declare the variables to store information about. So, this is how we can declare a variable to store information about integer value, and this is a float variable B. So, it belongs to float, it can store float values. And we also have the other concept like array, so which allows us to store data of this multiple data of the same type. So array consists of elements, so we declare the array in this way. So if we write it in this way, so this is also an array which consists of 5 elements, and each element of the array belongs to integer type. So array is nothing but which groups data of the same type with the same name. So here it groups data of same type. So here array consists of integer data type only. Under the same name, all the elements, they have the same name A. So we can access each element of the array by using the same name and with the help of index of each element. So A of 0, index starts from 0 to n minus 1. So where n is equal to 5 here. So if n is equal to 5, we can access each element by A of 0, A of 1, A of 2 and then A of 4. So in this way, but if we need to store multiple data of different data type, so if we need to store multiple data we need to store, and the data belongs to different data type under the same name, then we use the concept of structures. So in real life applications, so we need to maintain library records and we need to maintain student records. So like for example, in order to maintain library records, so it consists of, so each of the book in the library will consist of different details. So these different details are to be stored. For example, name of the book, author name, then book ID and then subject stored. So under the same name. So this is one real life example where we can use the concept of, where the concept of structures come into existence. Next, the other example is for maintaining student records like mark sheets. So in order to provide mark sheets to the students, so we need to know the name of the student, then ID number of the student and then marks, the relevant marks for each subject stored under the same name. So for example, so if student 1, if there is one student, then and for a particular student, so we need to store information like the student name. So name of the student will be of character data type, and then the other detail like ID number. So ID is, suppose it is integer type, and then marks. So marks are of float type. Say marks, they are of float type. So then we can combine all this data for the particular student. So we need to store all these different data of this particular student under the same name. So that is called as, with the same name, structure. So we can say that, so this is how we can define a structure. It is a user defined data type. So coming to arrays, so arrays is a derived data type, whereas this structure is a user defined data type which allows us to group together data of different data types under the same name, single name. So it is used to create composite data type which can hold multiple values similar to a record. So we can say that it is a record or a class in other programming languages. So coming to structure, so this is how we can summarize the definition of, we can say the definition of structure is, it is a user defined data type which allows us to group together data, or you can say variables of different data types under a single name. So here coming to this video lecture, we learn about, in order to actually use the concept of structures in programming languages, so we need to know the definition of what is structure definition, how to declare a structure variable and how to initialize the structure variables. So first one, structure definition. So first structure definition is, This is the syntax of structure definition. So we need to use the keyword struct here. Then this struct is a keyword which implies that this is a structure. Then followed by the name of the structure. Then inside the curly braces, then starting, and this is the start of curly brackets and this is the end of the curly brackets followed by semicolon. And inside these curly braces we need to mention the members of the structure. So these are called as members of the structure, and each member of the structure has corresponding data type and then name of the data type along with the name. So here variable 1, variable 2 and so on, these are members of the structure. So individual members, they can be ordinary variables, they can be pointers, arrays or any other structures. So let us see one example for this. So before that, let us see how to declare. Now, coming to the next concept, structure declaration. So after defining the structure, variables can be declared as, so this is the syntax of variable declaration, structure declaration, the keyword struct and then the name of the structure followed by the variables. So these are the variables of the structure, or you can say instances or objects of the structure. So here v1, v2 and v3, so these are the variables belonging to the structure named name. So v1, v2, v3, these are the variables or objects of the structure name. This is similar to declaring variables of any data type. So for example, int a we have, so a is a variable here, it belongs to integer type. So similarly we can say that v1 is a variable, so struct name v1. So v1 is a variable which belongs to the data type struct name. So memory allocation will take place only when variables are declared. So with structure definition, it is not possible to allocate memory. Only after the variables are declared, then the memory for this particular structure is allocated. So we can, coming to the size of the structure, so it would be the sum of the storage size required by every member of the structure. So for example, in this case, let us see it with the help of one example. Next, coming to structure declaration. So this is how we can declare the structure variables. So example for this is struct student. Name of the structure is student, and then in curly braces we have different members of the structure. So all these are members of the structure. So these are the different members. So each member, so name, then ID and then marks. These are the members of the structure. Name belongs to character data type and ID is integer type and marks are float type. So in order to declare a variable for this structure, so this is the syntax struct student and then s1. So inside the int main function, we can declare it in this way: struct student and then s1 and so on. We can declare some other variables also, s1, s2 and so on. So this is nothing but object, or you can say variable of this particular data type. So this is the new data type, you can say. The data type of this variable s1 is struct student. So s1 is a structure variable. The name of the structure is student. Next, another way of structure variable declaration is in this way. So structure definition we have seen. So we can define the structure globally or locally. So we can define the structure globally or locally. Then this is the structure definition. So this is structure definition. This is structure definition, this part. So here itself in the structure definition, we can declare the variable also. So this is variable declaration. So after the curly braces, if you specify the name of the variable followed by semicolon, so this is another way of structure variable declaration. This implies that s1 is a variable belonging to the data type struct student. So this we have seen. So this is one way of, this is the other way in which we can declare the variable s1 for the data type belonging to struct student. Next concept is structure initialization. So we can initialize the structure variables in three different ways. First is by using initializer list. So for example, so same example we can take. So we can define we have defined the structure as struct student, and then inside this we have three members. So first one is first member belonging to character type, second member belongs to integer type. So character, integer and float. So character, name, next one is integer, and the last one is float. So these are the marks. So this is the structure definition. So then how to initialize this? So we can initialize the structure variables. So here if we declare a variable of type struct student s1, then initialization we can do it as struct student s1 is equal to, using curly brackets we can, so this is one method of initialization. This is called as initializer list. So by using curly brackets, so this is the first value corresponding to the first member, and this is the value corresponding to the second member, and this is the value corresponding to the third member. So this corresponds, first one is first member is name, which belongs to character data type. So we have given a character data, which is nothing but an array of characters. So this is a string here. So therefore we have to give the string value first. Then after that, the second member is ID. Name of the member is ID. It belongs to integer type. So therefore the second value is integer type. And the last one is, last member of this belongs to float type. So therefore last value is float type. So there is one-to-one correspondence between the values which we have given. So name is nothing but Joe, ID is nothing but 245231, and then marks are 95. So in this way, this is one method of initialization using initializer list. So within one statement itself, we can initialize all the values, all the members of the structure. Next one is using assignment operator. So after we declare the variables then after that we can use dot operator. With the help of dot operator and assignment, using assignment operator, we can initialize each value. We can initialize each member. Suppose the name of the variable is s1 here. So s1 dot name. So this is equal to Joe here. So this implies the variable s1 has three attributes. So variable s1 has three attributes, or you can say three fields. So first one is name, which belongs to a string. So which is a array of characters. So corresponding value is this one. So second attribute is ID. So therefore we can access the second member for the variable s1 using dot operator. s1 dot id is equal to 245231. So this is how you can assign each value to the variable s1. So s1 has three attributes, name, id and marks. So we can assign these values by using assignment operator. So this is a float value, marks are float. So marks belong to float, marks are float type, therefore we can assign float value to this s1 dot marks. So here dot operator is used to access the structure members. So in order to access each member of the structure, we use dot operator. Next one is using designated initializer list. So after the definition of the structure, struct student. So inside this we define the structure. So this is then int id, then after that float marks. So this is structure definition. After that, in the main function, we are declaring the variables. So struct student s1 is equal to, so here itself we can initialize the values. So these values are, if you specify dot name, so this is the first member. So first member of the structure can be initialized in this way. Dot name is equal to Joe. So corresponding value is assigned as Joe. Next, separated by comma. So two different members are separated by comma. Then dot id is equal to 245231. So this is equivalent to s1 dot id is equal to 245231. Next, after that, we are assigning the last member of the structure. marks as 95, 95.00. So this method is useful only when we want to initialize specific members of a structure. Without here, order doesn't matter. Even if you write the first as dot id 245231, so this is also correct. So struct student s1 is equal to dot id is equal to this, then after that dot name is equal to Joe. So this value is assigned to first member of the structure, and this value corresponds to the second member of the structure, and then after that you can, so here order doesn't matter. This method is useful when we want to initialize the specific members of a structure without relying on their order in the structure definition. So no matter what is the order of members here, so we can initialize the values, we can initialize the structure variable in any order. Next, coming to the example, so let us see one program. So here we have used two header files, stdio.h and string.h file. Next, this is structure definition. So this is how we can define a structure definition. So structure definition is like a template, you can say. It is like a template which provides what the members of the structure, what is the data type of the structure members. So first one is name. So name is, so there are three members of the structure, name, id and marks. This name belongs to character type. This is an array of characters. Then id belongs to integer type and marks belongs to float type. So after this, in the main function, so we have declared a variable. So s1 is the variable here which belongs to the data type struct student. So s1 is a variable of the type struct student. So we are declaring a structure variable here. Then after that, in order to assign values to the structure members, so there are three methods in which we can assign values. First one is using initializer list. So in the initializer list, order is important. Then after that, using dot operator, you can assign values. And the last one is using designated initializer list. So in the designated initializer list, the order is not important. You can assign values in any order. So we have used the second method here. So out of the three methods, you can use any of the method. So s1 dot name is equal to, so here we have used string copy strcpy function. So this is a function which is defined in a string.h header file. So string copy, what it does is it copies the contents of the source to the destination. So here the source is the contents of Joe are copied to the variable s1.name. Next, s1.id is equal to 245231, s1.marks is equal to 95.00. So in order to access and display structure members, we can use the dot operator also. So each member of the structure can be accessed by using dot operator. So in order to access the first member of the structure, dot name is required. So s1 dot name, so variable and then dot name. Next, so in order to access second member of the structure, s1 dot id. Then in order to access the third member, corresponding variable name dot marks. So this is how we can access each member of the structure. So this is another program. So where we have defined the structure locally. So previously we have defined the structure globally. So here we have defined the structure locally. This is local declaration. So in the main function itself, we have defined the structure. So here book is name of the structure is book. It has three members or three fields, you can say. So these three fields are name, pages and price. So we need to store information of a book like name of the book, number of pages and then price. So for this we define a variable named bk1 of the type struct book. So struct book. So this is initialization statement. So we have assigned. So first is name, first one. So first member is an array of characters. So therefore we have given the value programming in C. Then after that the second member, after comma we need to give the second value. So second member belongs to integer type. So therefore this is integer type. And the third is float. So price is a float value, so therefore 118.55 we need to give here. Next to printf, in order to print or display the values for the variable, so by using dot operator we can print the different values. So by using name of the variable is bk1 dot name. So this is the first variable, this is the first member, and this is the variable name, and this one is the second member, and bk1 dot price will give the value of the third member. So this is the output of this program. Next one is one more example we'll see for structures. So this is a header file. So this is global declaration of the structure. Name of the structure is point. So we have two variables here, x and y. So both of them belonging to integer type. So next after that, so we have defined a structure variable here itself. So this global point is name of this is the structure variable. This is the structure variable, and we have defined it. We have declared this variable before the main function itself. So therefore this is a global variable. So structure variable is a global variable here. So this global point is a variable which belongs to the type struct point. Since this variable we have declared it before the main function itself, so therefore it is a global variable. Then after that, the use of this global variable is we can access it throughout the program. Next after that, we are assigning the values of the variable. Global point dot x is equal to 5. So value of this member is 5, and then value of this member is equal to 10. So in order to access and display the global structure variable, so we can use the dot operator. So global point x's corresponding value is 5 here, and these are integer values. So therefore we are using %d as a format specifier. So generally we write, in order to access a variable, just name of the variable is enough. But here, in addition to the variable, so for each variable has different attributes. So in order to access each attribute, or in order to access each member of the structure, we need to use the dot operator along with the variable name. So a dot x, suppose a is a variable, so a dot x is the value of the, so a dot x means this value, a dot y means this value. So next, in order to initialize the structure variable, one more thing, important point you can say here. So name of the two members cannot be same here. So int x, suppose if you declare int x and then float x, so this is invalid here because name of the members cannot be the same. So two different names you have to include here. And then after that, one more important point here is we cannot initialize here itself. So suppose you are initializing x is equal to 5 and x is equal to 10 here itself, is equal to 5 is equal to 10. This is also invalid. So this is also not possible. We cannot initialize in the structure definition. Next, coming in this example, so the struct point defines a structure template which is representing a point with x and y coordinates. So global point is a global variable of type struct point, so which can be accessed from anywhere in the program. So that is what the program is about. Next, one more example. So this is till now we have seen static initialization. This is runtime initialization. So runtime initialization means during execution time, the programmer or the user will give the inputs. So this is, first we have to define the structure. So same structure we have used, which has three members, name, ID and marks, and then main function. Inside the main function we have declared a variable structure. We have declared a structure variable S1. So name of the variable is S1, and then in order to initialize the structure members at runtime, during execution time or runtime you can say. So at runtime, in order to initialize the structure members, so we have scanf function we need to use. So in order to use scanf function, so scanf, it receives the, along with the variable name, you need to specify the address of the variable also. So address operator is used. So since this is an array of characters, no need to specify the address operator here. So this is integer and this is float. Therefore we need to specify address operator here. And after that, followed by the name of the variable. So name of the variable is S1. So S1 dot in order to initialize this value, this member of the structure, so S1 dot ID is the address. So we need to scan so S1 dot ID at the address specified by S1 dot ID. Next S1 dot marks, then display the initialized structure members. So suppose we enter this part of the code will display all the information which the user has entered. So if we run the program, we'll get the output as in this way. So enter the student's name. Suppose we enter Joe here. So enter the student's ID. So name of the student is Joe. ID is 345231. And if we enter the marks as 95.66, then correspondingly student information will be displayed on the screen. So this is the information, name. So name, and then in order to specify, this is an array of characters, that means a string. So percentage %s is the format specifier, corresponding value is printed. Then ID is integer, so percentage %d is the format specifier. Variable name is s1.id, and in order to print the marks, so we have, so it is float type, so therefore we have to use percentage %f as the format specifier, and then variable name is s1.marks. So in this way, we have seen how to define a structure, how to declare a structure variable, and how to initialize the structure variables. So in the next video lecture, we'll see about some more concepts of structures in C programming. Until then, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.